Games of Philosophy. I'm your host, Nick Miller, also known as Breakfast Clubber. And since we are on the official channel, we can go ahead and dispense with that. So let's do that. Now, when I say my perception of the world, your mind may naturally shorten this to my view of the world. Mine sure does. But what if you couldn't see? That's what we're going to talk about today. And be sure to stick around to the end where I let you know about next week's video. So before we get into today's topic, I wanted to highlight a comment from last week's video. I asked you for a philosophical quote, and, well, the bad news is I only got one comment. We can do better than that, can't we? I think we can. So as part of the series, I'm going to do a little segment I like to call Quote of the Week. These are all going to come from you, so if you want to get a comment featured in a YouTube video so you could show all your friends, here's your chance. Now the good news is that one comment was a really good one, but it's on the copy of last week's video that was on my personal channel, so I'll link to that in the description below. So John Black comments, "The unexamined life is not worth living," and this is also from Socrates. I'm glad you picked this, John. I was thinking about using it myself before I limited myself to one. It ties in nicely with what I'm trying to do here, which, among other things, is examine my own life in the hopes that someone can learn from my many mistakes. So I have a lot of quotes I like, and you'll be seeing more of those as the series progresses. But I'm always interested in hearing new ones. So throw your favorite quotes, philosophical or otherwise, into the comments below. Who knows, it may even end up as a future quote of the week. On with the video! Alright, geez, so angry. So when I was around 5, I got my first pair of glasses. Up until that point, I was pretty blind. It was so blurry that if you stood still, I'd just think you were a part of the background. Yep, I was basically Jurassic Park's representation of a T-Rex. Don't move. It can't see you if you don't move. I could pick up things pretty well if they were moving, so long as they weren't headed for, well, my head. As you might imagine, I never really thought much about how people looked. To me, they all looked pretty much the same, just in varying shades of brown. With my new glasses, I was able to see things I never had. The shapes of people were much more defined, and I could make out things like what they were wearing, how they did their hair, and most importantly to my 5-year-old self, what cartoon characters were on their lunchboxes. Unfortunately, my eyes are pretty bad, and even today when I get a new set of glasses or contacts, I still can't make out much detail unless I'm way closer to something or someone than I usually wanted to be. I never really considered my eyes a reliable source of input, whereas for most it seems to be the primary one. I identified people in my mind by the sound of their voice and footsteps, and the smell of their perfume, aftershave, or BO. As such, my view of people has always remained pretty much the same, that under the hair and clothes, which I can, pretty well see, we all still pretty much look the same, just in varying shades of brown still. Now, I don't claim to understand people, and I think this is one of the fundamental reasons for that. The basic difference in my perception versus other people's has made a huge impact on my life, I think, and my relationships with people. I, for one, think it'd be great if people would focus a little less on the visual. I'm not saying go blind yourself or anything like that. Please, don't do that. I don't need that on my conscience, too. Just try and remember that what's on the outside of a person is not nearly as important as what's inside. That about wraps it up for today, so what about next week? Well, next week I want to talk a little bit about death and our fear of it. That brings me to another of my favorite quotes. "Luminous beings are we, not discrete matter." Yes, Yoda's fictional, but at the same time, he is one hell of a philosopher. I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe even got something out of it. If you'd like to help the channel out, I'm currently trying to get to 100 subscribers. When I get there, I can make a nice, easy to remember link to share with you, help you find my channel. It's totally free and easy. You just have to tap or click the big red subscribe button below. And if you would like to be informed about when I am posting new videos, consider the bell notification icon as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week right here on Games of Philosophy.